The importance of the women in estate agency movement. Today, I'm joined by Kirsty Franks, who is huge in the game when it comes to estate agency marketing. She runs the property franchise group. She's used to work for Lomond running their marketing and now runs her own marketing agency. Kirsty, you are one of the key leaders of the women in estate agency movement. Why is it so important to have that movement? Talk to me.
I mean, the group I'm incredibly passionate about, and it's phenomenal. And I think there is an absolute need for it. And I wish I could sit here and say that there wasn't a need for groups like Women in Estate Agency. And maybe in a few years' time, we will say our work here is done. But right now, we provide a really safe and encouraging space for women in our sector. So we have a Facebook group of now over 4,000 women in the sector. And it's a really warm, welcoming, engaging, supportive place for them to be able to ask questions, get guidance, get mentoring, be able to vent and get support from other people within the sector.
Because whilst I haven't been on the group, obviously,
yes,
I believe that, there's at least 10 posts a day, and a lot of it is the supportive. It's not about Section 8 or Section 21.
No.
I'm having a bad day with my boss, or
I'm having a bad day with my boss. I've been on a viewing that has made me feel uncomfortable. I'm having challenges with one of my team members, or it might be the more practical things. Can I get some guidance on some HR policies? It's a whole breadth of different questions. And as you say, it's an incredibly active group.
And if I was a woman and joined that group, could I post anonymously?
Absolutely. Yeah, you can post anonymously as well. Many people do. But I think the beauty of it is, even though it's so active and there's so much going on, you will always get a response. You will always get some support. There is always somebody there to help. And I think that's why it's such a safe place and so helpful to so many people.
What would your message be to the men out there in estate agency? What do they need to do more of? You've got this wonderful safe space that ladies only can join, but what can men be doing, and women who are not in the group, to make things better?
Yeah, and I think, it's important to say that the whole movement around women in estate agency is about equality and inclusivity. This is not an us and them situation, which is why our conference that we hold every year is open to men as well. You've been there. We have men that sit on our committee. We've got Ian McKenzie and Simon Brown that sits on the committee with us. And actually, it's about how do we together make estate agency a better place for everybody. So I would absolutely encourage men to come along to the conference, get involved in the webinars that we host, go along to the regional events that are hosted by our regional champions. There's so many ways to get involved. And I would say for men, be open-minded, listen. We're here to support and give advice, and we want to do this together as one community.
Okay, but coming back to the original question, let's assume that I'm an estate agency boss. So I haven't got time to go to conferences down in that there London. What practical things am I doing as a male, which I'm probably not aware of, that are causing issues with the ladies that work in my business?
I would say as a male leader or a manager, you should try and really listen to your team and understand if they're having challenges, if they're having pain points, try and understand, be empathetic and see that from their point of view. I would also encourage you to ask your female team members to join the group, to get that support from the community as well.
On the posts that get posted in this Facebook group, is there certain themes that keep coming up? Again, I hope you don't mind, but I really want to deep dive on this one. Is there anything that keeps coming up that you think, God, dear, I just wish if more men did this or more men did less of this, these issues wouldn't be coming up so often?
I think it's around women want to be heard, and understood. There's a whole host of topics that I can go into around
Please.
Safety in the workplace is a big topic that comes up. You know, we've got a lot of women out there who are working on their own, going out doing viewings, etc. And that can be scary at times. And there are times where we need our male colleagues to understand that that can feel quite lonely and isolating, and offer that support and guidance around it.
Do you think it's a case of men not caring, or probably just not aware? Because let's be honest, men are a little bit, you know, our own little worlds, aren't we?
I think we see the world very differently.
Yes.
In a lot of cases.
I mean, if you don't mind me saying, the way I can only go about with my relationship with my wife is that I think men, you know, 10 out of 10 is thinking way too much. 0 out of 10 is not thinking at all. And I think men are probably around a 3, and the ladies that I come into contact with probably around 7. And it's the gap between the two.
Yeah.
We just, you know, we're just, what's in front of us we get on with, and we're not aware of our surroundings and what our actions are doing.
But as women, we have to be aware of our surroundings. And I think this isn't about overthinking any situation. This is the reality. And I come back to the example around being a woman on viewings. You know, as a man, would you walk into a viewing and think, I need to be concerned for my safety at any point?
No, I wouldn't.
But as a woman, we would. You know, we would worry about walking down the street at night alone. So it's not an overthinking. It's a really having to look at the world through different eyes and understanding what that means for us.
Fair goes. There are other instances, though, where it is just more of a mind thing. I know that they're completely separate viewings and things there. But what could men do? And often I think men need to think a bit more, don't they?
Yeah, I think a little bit more. I think what we're not asking for any special treatment here. It's about being heard and equality. So we think about women in the workplace as well. It's not that we want special treatment or special measures. It's that we want exactly the same as everybody else. So the same opportunities, the same job opportunities, the same place at the table.
Well, let's move on and talk about job opportunities. Why are there not so many senior females in senior roles?
I think it's growing. I think
yes.
it's certainly growing. I think we are certainly as a community and women in a state agency absolutely passionate about shining a spotlight on those women who are doing exceptional things in their careers. I think sometimes as women we tend not to shout about our successes as much.
Which is a good thing, because I can't be doing with the egotistical estate agents.
Well, but I think, you know, we shouldn't be quiet and be wallflowers, and we should be prepared to put ourselves above the parapet and shout about our successes.
I mean, look at you here today. I mean, you know, I put you in the senior roles, and it's taken a while to get you here.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I'm a perfect example of that, Chris. You know, I've had a successful career that I'm very proud of, but I do that from the wings very much. And you asking me to come and do this today is very much out of my comfort zone, because I'm the one that's directing from the sidelines. But that's, again, sometimes it's a confidence thing. Sometimes it's an imposter syndrome thing.
Yeah, I mean, my experience with imposter syndrome is that men and women do suffer from it both. You know, even larger than life people do suffer from it. You know, the names I could reel off, I won't embarrass them. Big names, males that just do have input, but they seem to just crack on.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just wish you ladies just get out there.
So I'm going to tell you a little story about that. So a couple of days ago, my good friend Verona Frankish, you know her very well.
Love her.
I called her and said, I'm going to see Chris on Monday. And she knew that I was nervous about coming to have a chat with you, because as much as, you know that I've got an awful lot I can sit here and talk to you about, it's not usual for me to be the one in front of the camera. Her words to me were, Kirsty Franks, get a grip, to start with. And she said, how many men who are doing the same roles as you and have had the same success as you would be sat here being worried about going and telling their story? And she's right. And she gave me a kick up the bum to stop worrying about it.
I'm sure there's some fruity language in there as well. No,
she's Irish.
Again, you'll be amazed the amount of people, males, that have this facade and they have that little voice in their head. How do you deal with imposter syndrome? I mean, is it speaking with like-minded people like Verona.
Yeah, I mean, coming back to women in a state agency, I've made some incredible friends and got a group of champions and supporters. And I can reach out to anybody in that group and we talk and I can tell them how I'm feeling and I can get that network of people behind me, pushing me on and supporting me. But that means talking about it. And you're right, men tend not to talk about it.
No, we don't. Do you think you'd be here today on the sofa if you didn't have the support of the Women in a State Agency group?
No, I don't. No, I don't. It's an incredible group of women and men. I've made some great friends that are men in that group as well, but who support me and support each other, champion me, champion each other, and make us believe that we can stand up, be ourselves, be authentic, have a voice, and be confident to go out there and tell our story.
Absolutely fantastic. Any final words?
It would be remiss of me at this point, as the marketing director for Women in a State Agency, not to promote the conference for next year. So we've got a whole host of things coming up with Women in a State Agency over the next 12 months. Leadership training, thanks hugely to our partners at Rightmove for their support around that. More webinars, more regional events, but really importantly, 6th of March 2025, our annual Women in a State Agency conference. We call it a conference, but you've been there. You've seen how magical it is. It's more than just a conference, and we've got an incredible lineup planned for next year. So there's a small handful of early bird tickets left. So I'd absolutely urge everybody to get their tickets while they're still available.
Thank you for your time today.